Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at some places or an emergency guide to all the Chrono Crystals you can currently get on DB Legends for people that are desperate to get Ultra Vegito Blue. Now obviously Ultra Vegito Blue is pretty hype, a lot of people obviously want him as a unit, so grabbing Chrono Crystals is kind of like a huge deal right now, and I just want to highlight obviously some obvious places, some techniques, and just some places you can look to see if you've got all the Chrono Crystals you can get. We're going to start with the recommended events, but it should be pretty obvious. You can grind yourself some pretty decent Chrono Crystals by completing some of these events, and there's also some ways in which you can grab some additional ones. But the Raging Battle is 1,000 Chrono Crystals if you complete all of the stages, and by completing all the stages you also gain access to a pretty cool training stage. This is 1,000 Chrono Crystals and you should definitely do it. I have a guide to this video up, this event currently up on my channel, and also how to beat the last stage. We then have the Anniversary Tower, literally the exact same thing but an Anniversary Tower edition or Anniversary Edition one. This one also drops 5th anniversary medals, which are going to be important for missions that you can complete for Chrono Crystals, and I'll mention those as well. So that's 2,000 Chrono Crystals, and you should definitely give it a try. You can make your way across them and get yourself some Chrono Crystals. Next is the Raid Boss event. Obviously this is super important, but before we touch on that, we'll talk about some of the other events. Fierce Fights give a little bit of Chrono Crystals, but we're not talking about anything crazy. A couple hundred across all of them. From the challenge missions and from the missions. However, there are some notable events. The Rising Battle events drop a significant amount of Chrono Crystals from their missions, not only from the completion of them, which drops a decent chunk, but also from the actual missions for them as well. For example, just completing the Broly Original Series gives 500 Chrono Crystals. So if you haven't done those, you should definitely consider doing them. The fight or the raid boss, great source of Chrono Crystals, not only from the raid medals that you can obviously exchange for Chrono Crystals, but the fact that it's going to give you 5th anniversary medals, which if you haven't completed the missions by now, do have the chance to award you quite a few Chrono Crystals. So it's definitely something you should invest in. It's 700 Chrono Crystals, and you can farm these all up in one day if you want to, if you grind it out, so there's definitely an incentive there. Next we're going to look at Hyperdimensional Co-op. Very similar. 300 Chrono Crystals here, and it comes from the Hyperdimensional Co-op medals. These you get from farming the Hyperdimensional Co-op as well. You don't get as many of these, but if you farm it at a decent difficulty, you can definitely get yourself 300 Chrono Crystals with relative ease. So now that we've done those kind of mainstay events, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the alternative options that you have. One of the best alternative options that you have are the challenge fights, or the first rounds of both the Prevent the World Domination event and the Superheroes Have Arrived of Justice event. Both of these are pretty solid. They give you 100 Chrono Crystals per stage, and there's 2 of them, so that's 400 Chrono Crystals for pretty minimal effort. And it's again something that's accessible. You just need the free-to-play character to take part in it. So there really isn't anything too crazy that you need to do to really get access to these crystals. So that's a really good incentive. Now beyond that, there is also some additional missions or additional special events that I'd like to highlight. The first of these are the Legends Road events. The full power battles don't give you much, so you can skip all of these, but the Legends Road events give you quite a significant amount of Chrono Crystals. Not only do you get Chrono Crystals by completing missions related to these Legends Road events, which can drop quite a considerable amount, but you also get Chrono Crystals by completing the challenge fights that are associated with these events as well. So by doing the challenge fights for all of these events, you can nab yourself close to 1,000 Chrono Crystals, alongside as well having the ability to get quite a few, couple hundred Chrono Crystals by completing the rank up missions for all of the characters. Beyond that, there's not anything too much, but special mention to the Eliminate the Earthlings event, which gives you a sizable amount of Chrono Crystals as well by completing various missions and challenges associated with it. If you want to find out more about that, you can check out the video on my channel. You just simply have to search Eliminate the Earthlings, as I probably haven't put the link in by now, but if I have, you can click the link in the top right hand corner In terms of other events or other missions that you can kind of collect on, the main ones are the 5th Anniversary Legends Battle missions and the Anniversary Adventure missions. The adventure missions are pretty straightforward, and to access them all you simply have to do is go to the adventures section and trade in some of your adventures for currency, and you'll eventually get a couple hundred Chrono Crystals there. The Thanks for 5-year anniversary medals feature up to 4,000 Chrono Crystals, maxing out at 800 anniversary medals, so if you haven't done that, you need to go farm those up ASAP. In terms of everything else, there's a couple sources of Chrono Crystals beyond that. Obviously there's the hyperdimensional missions, which drop 200 Chrono Crystals, and then we also have some interesting Chrono Crystals from things like the Tuesday medals. Some events are also dropping Chrono Crystals, and like I said, special highlight to the original series Broly event, but also check out your original series events like the Captain Ginyu Force, Turles, etc. There are plenty of Chrono Crystals that you can earn there. Beyond that, you're going to want to obviously finish those missions, or whatever counts for Chrono Crystals, as you can see what I've done, and then maybe you want to consider some alternative methods. If we go to the special missions, one of the ways is to increase the friendship of your allies, and also to complete the Legends Road missions related to ranking up those characters. As I mentioned before, they can be quite profitable, and there's still a couple hundred stones left for even me to collect from those missions. It will cost you energy and stamina tickets though. Next, obviously, we have things like completing challenges in the main story, and speaking of the main story itself is obviously a great way to net yourself some Chrono Crystals. If you haven't completed all of the missions yet in the main story is a great source. PvP is of course also a definite source of Chrono Crystals. Not only is there the dual coin campaign, which you can trade in dual coins for PvP, or PvP dual coins for Chrono Crystals, but there is actually also the treasure battle campaign, which is currently up, which enables you to grab special crowns from the treasure battle and exchange those for Chrono Crystals as well, and there's quite a few that you can earn there, so I highly suggest you take a look. Beyond that, in terms of sources of Chrono Crystals, that kind of covers the event portion of everything, or at least covers it relatively well, I would say. The only other real major source of Chrono Crystals is maybe things like Chance Time, if you have some leftover prize tickets. And then of course now we're talking about some techniques in relation to increasing your Chrono Crystals. So obviously there are two techniques, and I've covered these very well on this channel, so yeah, I'll leave a link to them. But basically, you can see here the story mode is obviously a way to earn Chrono Crystals, because you can get Chrono Crystals from the missions and completing the stages. But the other best way to obtain Chrono Crystals is actually to soul boost your units. Especially if you're a new player, soul boosting your units will complete a Z mission for you. Completing the Z mission will enable you to grab up to 20 Chrono Crystals per unit, and later on 10, and then eventually nothing. And then of course you can also upgrade gear. Upgrading gear from rank up to A rank, or upgrading to Z rank, net you Chrono Crystals as well. And upgrading to Z rank also includes when you re-upgrade an item. So if you re-upgrade a strong item from S rank to S rank, it still counts as an upgrade. And this is a great way to net yourself some Chrono Crystals as well. Both of these are expensive and require you to farm souls and use energy and skip tickets, but it's something you may need to do if you want to grab those final Chrono Crystals. But that's it from me. I hope this helped you guys out. If you need any more help, just search Chrono Crystal on my channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye.